We're now joined by one of my favorite guests, one of my favorite athletes growing up, not to age him, even though we're around the same age, the incomparable Michael Vick. Michael Vick joins us now live on The Herd. Mike, I know you were conflicted last night because on one side of the ball, you've got your guy Andy, and, you know, I've said this before, you have many accolades, but the greatest coaching intern in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs, one Michael Vick. And on the other side of the ball, you have the GOAT, Tom Brady, who you have been discussing on our show all year, saying I've been discounting him. So what was going through your head watching what I think for everyone was a pretty shocking Super Bowl?
You know, it was tough to watch in the beginning because once I seen that the Bucs came out and established that run game and the play action came off of it, I kind of knew that was going to be the formula for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I was a little worried, but, you know, was paying close attention to see if the Kansas City Chiefs will respond to that. I knew that was going to be the formula to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. And, you know, when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, it was just no energy out there. And I'm thinking back to, you know, kickoff, you know, showing the guys on the sideline, you know, the guys who are their most spirited guys didn't have the energy. Kelsey didn't have the energy. Tyreek Hill didn't have the energy. You know, Patrick tried to provide that spark, but it just wasn't there. Like, and you can see it. So I think this team just was dealing with a lot, and obviously, maybe they felt like this was a road game for them, and the Bucs was at home and comfortable because they didn't play up to their standard. They was very flat coming into this game, bro.
What more could Patrick Mahomes have done? I know he had bad stat line. From my perspective, and my eyes are different than yours, it felt like he was almost, to use a poker term, drawing dead. Like he had no counterpunch available to him. When you're watching him out there, is there something Patrick Mahomes could have done differently? Maybe not to change the outcome, but at least to make it closer?
No, it wasn't too much he could do, Nick. He was very uncomfortable. The injury that he has, that whatever's hampering him right now, it's really something that needs to be taken care of. And I think because he's having surgery in the offseason, it shows the severity of this injury. But, you know, I'm watching him throw last night and seeing him trying to control his body in so many different ways to make throws and the way he's moved. This is not Patrick Mahomes. He's not healthy. He's not comfortable at all. The throws right there. He throws that ball back shoulder, you know, on that 7 route that we just showed, that corner route. And I know his timing. I know the way he throw the football. I know, you know, what he brings in terms of arm strength. He's just not comfortable in the pocket, and it was evident last night. And having 3 offensive linemen out certainly didn't help.
It was also very evident last night that the Chiefs could not straight up block the Tampa Bay front, even though Tampa Bay was not blitzing. It was the fewest blitzes a Todd Bowles team has sent in 5 years. As a quarterback, how much does it start to get in your head when you feel like every snap, within 2 seconds, there's going to be someone right in your face?
It happens early in the game. You feel that pressure, and you instantly know that the timing is going to be disrupted. Like, you can almost hear it when the ball snaps. Like, we feel it, but you can hear it. You can feel those guys all around you, and, you know, instinctively, you got to move. And we never seen Patrick move as much as we seen him yesterday, whether he was rolling or pushing up or trying to get away from guys. It was just the rest all day. But that was because of the 3 offensive linemen that was out. You know, you start to do that offensive line shuffle. At this point in the season, you know, it's no togetherness. It's no continuity. You know, they kind of all over the place. And in 2 weeks won't cut it. So I think Patrick came into the game not confident. Yes, confident in his abilities, but not confident in the offensive line. How could you be when your 3 most important guys on the offense are out?
Well, before we get to the Bucs side of things, one more question on the Chiefs. You played for Andy. You love Andy. You know, I have immense affection for Andy. I was surprised they didn't seem to have a counterpunch. I was surprised that they went into the game seemingly with the game plan of, we're going to do what we do, and you're not going to stop us. Now, in their defense, that was my game plan. You heard me last week, like, no, the Chiefs are going to do what they do, so I would have been of no use to them. But when you were watching it unfold, were you surprised the Chiefs didn't have a counterpunch there?
Yeah, I was very surprised, and I thought they would go to a solid run game. I thought that would be a big part of their offense last night. I thought Edwards-Helaire and, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Le'Veon Bell is hurt, but, his existence and his presence would have been felt last night if healthy or if he would have been able to play. And then I keep going back to the offensive line. You talking about running the football. I'm saying talking about running the football, but you can't run the football if you got guys in there who don't really know the scheme or understand how to block it or block different fronts. It plays a big factor. So, I think Andy understood that. He knew he could only get away with so much last night, and he did the best he could. This team was very wounded injury-wise, and it's just one of them years where, the ball didn't bounce your way in terms of injuries, and you got to pick up and get ready for a strong 2021.
All right, now let's talk Tom Brady, one of your favorite topics. When Tom Brady walked off the field against the Titans last year, his final game as a Patriot, after they're playing in the first round for the first time in forever, they're losing in the first round for the first time in a decade, and it was pretty clear his time in New England was over. Did you think this was a realistic possibility?
Well, I thought about the scenarios and where Tom could end up. Never thought it would be in Tampa Bay, and I watched him closely from afar, and, I thought he started to take a beating. I personally thought that he wasn't moving around as well. I thought he finished the season last year the way he looked in the beginning of the year this year, and then somehow, some way, he just picked it up out of nowhere. And it was looking the same, so we was all starting to think, man, Brady a little washed up. Well, not washed up, but he's regressing. I never use the word washed up in terms of the GOAT. But, we thought he was regressing a little bit, and, Brady found a way to assemble a team around him and put it together. And I think, more than anything, his knowledge of the game really played a factor, along with Brian Leftwich and Bruce Arians, three offensive minds coming together. I think we talked about this over the summer when I first appeared on First Things First. And, it's just clearly evident that this man is a football savant. And he knows a lot about the game of football. And my son will be attending Tom Brady camp one day. Hopefully he'll have some in the future.
Well, so let's talk about Brady and the other element to it, which is Tom Brady played for the first time in his career a little GM here. He brings Gronk in. Bruce Arians was adamant on the record against Antonio Brown. Then they sign Antonio Brown. He moves in with Brady. We saw this offseason in the draft. We saw the Chiefs called up Patrick Mahomes before the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick. We now see Deshaun Watson, one of the reasons he wants out of Houston, reportedly, among other reasons, but is they're not consulting him on the moves. With the success Brady instantly had when they allowed him to have a real say in some of these maneuvers, do you think we could potentially be entering a time where the star player, most notably the quarterback, has a seat at the decision-making table with the power brokers of the franchise? Or is this just singular to Tom Brady?
No, I don't think so. I think this is something that could reverberate around the league. Look at guys like Deshaun Watson, who was just recently trying to do the same thing. We, as quarterbacks and most players on the offense and defense side of the ball know what pieces need to be put in place. And sometimes we have to crowd for that. We have to go to ownership. We got to go to management and say, look, I need this piece right here. And when I use the word football savant, that's just not understanding what's going on the field, the X's and O's. It's knowing who need to be put in what place. What offensive guard needs to be inserted into this spot, or what receiver needs to be put at X and what receiver needs to be put in the slot. Who works best where. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration because, as quarterbacks, when the ball is snapped, we see everything that's going on. And even when we hand off to the running backs, we see everything that's taking place in terms of blocking schemes and holes that's being hit. And, if he could have went outside or inside, or who got bounced, or, who really got it. So at the quarterback position, and I'm not just saying that at that position, but, we, not to give us too much credit, we just see everything that's going on both sides of the ball. We see everything. We study it on offense and defense. And this is Tom Brady showing and being a savant that he know what guys need to be placed, and then you call it the right way, and it results in Super Bowl victories, and that's what he's produced over the years.
Mike Vick, my friend, Mike, I'm going to text you my address. I need you to send me some autographed stuff, not for any reason other than I have to sell it to pay these gambling debts. Talk to you later, Mike. Thank you.
I was just about to say, yeah, no doubt.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.